Get on my camera.
This is really
I heard so much about you, and I think we've met in passing,
yeah.
I thought, how many of my cameras are going to go back there, bring the plate of food to the people, and they're going to serve us the water. Yeah, we got an entire table of all kinds of food there. I am very slow to actually maybe a kid. I know you can. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're here today to remember Sue.
Aim the right direction and stuff.
And so, can you hear me?
Yep.
Now you can? Okay, because I stumbled on that last line. I'd rather it was off for that one. I thank you for everybody that came today to remember Sue. Sue was a wonderful friend. I've known her for a very long time, and I wanted to share some things today. I know they have other things that are coming. Normally you'll be reading the obituary and everything first, but different people are doing different things. I wanted to start by saying my life was so much richer having Sue be my friend. I met her 41 years ago. We were at a church function, of course. We were at Montgomery Assembly of God, and I was working with her and her mother in the kitchen, of course. And as we were laughing through the whole thing, and for those of you who remember Sue's mom, she had a laugh that was absolutely amazing. I can just imagine her greeting Sue on the other side with that laugh and saying, "God, you made it." And so, as we got to know each other a little bit, one of the things that Sue's mom said to me was that she was going through some difficulties, and she asked me how my life was, and I made a comment to her. I said, well, if life gets a little rough for you, and things are really bad at your house, I said, and you need a place to go, you can come and stay at my house. Little did I know that a week and a half later, I got a call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was Ruth, and it was Mary, who was only this big back then, and it was Sue. And they stayed with me for about a month. During that month, it was almost like Christmas every day. We had prayer meetings every day. We prayed for my mom to get saved, and later on she did. We prayed for Sue's dad to get saved, and later on he did. We had a marvelous time in the Lord. Of course, Joe, and I can tell this because he didn't get to come today, but as he watches long distance, I love you, Joe. He didn't love me at first for taking them in. It took a long time for me to grow on him. But eventually he decided I wasn't too bad and gave me away at my wedding. And I forgive you, Joe. Just saying. Oh my goodness. So during that time, we all got to be closer and closer, and we became prayer partners, and we became family, because Sue practically lived at my house, even when she didn't live at my house. And Mary and my sons grew up together, and so whenever my kids got to have their toys, you know, they would have all those Transformer things. Mary would get a red one, and they all went to the Star Wars things together, and we just grew up together. My son Justin, who lives on the West Coast now, was so close to Aunt Sue that he was all the way into college before he said to me, you know what, I got to thinking the other day. He goes, wait a minute, Sue's not really my aunt. I said, yes, she is. Yes, she is. I had the honor to pray with Sue's brother, Bubba, when he was struggling with illness and lead him to the Lord. And I got to share it at his funeral. I had the honor of getting to share at Sue's mom's funeral in this very place a few years back. And I thank God that we all met each other in church, and though the journey had some bumps in it, I thank God that we got to know the Lord together. I know where Sue is, because as Sue began to, of course she had given her life to the Lord as a young woman. As you get closer to the end of your life, sometimes the bumps in the road make you kind of pull away a little bit. But I had the honor, when Sue was beginning to become sick, of taking her by the hand and saying, girl, eternity is forever. And I want to make absolutely sure that I know where you're going when your time comes. And she I'm going to tell you what. I have a son that's in heaven that went at the ripe old age of 18 years old. And when he went, and I was getting ready to go to his funeral, I can tell you heaven is real because I asked the Lord, I said, God, we're serving you with everything we can. My boy served you with everything he could. He was getting ready to go to Bible college. But I need to know that I know that I know that I know that eternity is real and that heaven is real. I've got to know. And so as I was ironing my dress to get ready to go to my son's funeral, I had what they call an open vision. Some people may not believe in those, but God didn't care. He gave me one anyway. And as I was getting ready and ironing my dress, my son was with his best friend, and they were killed in an automobile accident. His best friend stepped into heaven first, and it was like he just went, boom! And he was like, whoa! It's real! It's real! It's real! And I'm here! It's real! And then boom! In stepped my son, and he goes, oh yeah! Oh yeah! It's real! We made it! They were jumping up and down. And then my son's friend looked at me and he said, well, wait a minute. He said, aren't we here just a little bit early? And my son goes, yeah. They were on their lunch hour. He goes, we didn't have to go back to work today. And I tell you, the power of God hit me. I can't even describe the feeling of the joy of people stepping in. And I know my son welcomed Sue when she stepped on the other side. I know that her mother and her brother welcomed her when she stepped on the other side. I also, unfortunately, know that hell is real too. I prayed with a man one time. I used to do inner city ministry, and this man was found in a van. He had had an overdose, and he was in a coma, and he'd been in a coma for 3 days. And a relative of a relative of a relative of a relative asked me if I would go in and pray for him. I went in with a friend of mine. And we felt like we should read over him the 23rd Psalm. Some of you may know it. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And there's a line in there that says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And when we read that line, that man's hand went, whoa! And he started moving. The next day, he came out of that coma and he asked us to come back, and he said, I was in a tunnel, and there were chains around me. And he said, and I was being dragged against my will, and there was a drop-off at the end, and there were flames down there. And I've heard this testimony more than once. And he said it smelled so horrible, and I could hear screams everywhere. And when I heard you praying, all of a sudden the chains broke, and I was snapped back. That man came back and gave his heart to the Lord, and he was a different man forever. Oh. And I want you to know that tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, if Sue could stand here and say one thing to everybody, the first thing she would say is, I love you, and I wish I had more time with you. The second thing she would say is, you gotta come where I am, because this is wonderful. Don't waste a minute wondering if it's going to be all right with you, because eternity is forever. So my gift today, because I don't know if I'll ever see a lot of you again. I was amazed that people even recognized me today. But I would like everybody to pray with me the way Sue did. If you mean it in your heart, when it's your turn to go, you're going to be with her. If you don't mean it in your heart, you'll know the way, so that when your heart is ready, you'll know what to pray. But if everybody could just shut their eyes for just a minute and repeat after me. Father God, I come to you today, and I'm asking for you to forgive me. In Romans it says, if you believe in your heart and you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, then you will be saved. So I'm going to ask you to pray this. Father God, I believe in my heart that Jesus is who he said he was. And then he paid for me. I receive it. Come into my heart and help me to learn of you. Because one day, with you is where I want to be. Fill me with your spirit. In Jesus' name, amen. And if you meant it, then it's just a little while till you see her again. Until then, I miss her, and I know you do too. Amen. Said I don't know who's next.
Sandy's gonna play a song.
sure most of you know who I am.
My God.
I don't need it.
You're allowed to.
Most of you know who I am. I'm Sue's oldest, Alex. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. And I would like to open up the mic to anyone who would like to come up and say a few words about Sue. Come on up. And if nobody can, that's fine too. This is a very tough time for all of us.
I can say something, Alex.
Come on up.
So I was thinking about Sue the other night while I was cooking dinner, and I just thought I would write a little bit down. I don't think I can read and hold the microphone at the same time. So it's okay if I just talk loud. My name's Kate. I'm Sammy's best friend. We grew up together with Alex and Nick. When I first met Sue, Mama Sue, Sammy and I had become instant best friends in the 6th grade. And she and Mr. B, Big K, they let me sleep over for nights on end and eat just criminal amounts of goldfish and bagel bites and just eat them out of house and home, basically. And Sue would always cook us her special porcupine meatballs and chicken dip. She would make us cakes on our birthdays. And they always made sure that I had at every Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that our favorite oven snacks were always ready when we got home from school. She always had room for kids in her house. She was always babysitting, talking, laughing. She treated us all like we were her family. The Vearils it was like Eric Foreman's house. It was like a revolving door of just teenagers just always in and out, but we'd always listen when Sue sat down at the kitchen table to tell us a story, make us laugh, when she told us to quiet down and stop slamming the door. Keith and Sue were kind enough to let me move into their house during Sammy and I's last few years of high school, so our forever sleepover became real. And no matter what my circumstances were, Sue would never make me feel judged. She would never let me feel embarrassed by anything. She had this very compassionate, motherly way of taking any problem or anxiety that you may have and convincing you that it was surmountable, and that you were going to be okay, and that you were loved and accepted. So that's how she built this wonderful family of just kind, compassionate, incredibly intelligent, resourceful, resilient people that I am so lucky to have in my life. And that's why she'll be so sorely missed.
I'll say something.
What?
It'll just take me a minute.
You're good, take your time.
Sorry, guys.
You're good.
I am Sarah Davenport McAvoy. And I'm sure many of you know me. I've known Sue for so many years. It's kind of, I'm trying to think, it's since I was 16 years old. My younger sister, Anna, and Mary became absolute best friends. And I got to know Sue as I got to know Mary. And it was at Sue's house. And Sue lived kind of like right next to the high school where we went to school. And it was a very short walk. And we used to always hit the Vearil house on the way home from school. And she said, Sue was always very welcoming. They say that there's a family you have and a family you choose. And the Bellas and Vearils were always wonderful. And just like you knew her as Mama Sue, I knew her mom as Mama Ruth. And she was always there as well. And actually, I meant to start out by saying that I think that Sue would find it very amusing that her memorial service is before the Queen's. I actually admired her in so many ways. She wasn't just a friend. She was kind of an advisor and a mother, a second mother. And man, we spent so much time together over the years. And as I got older, we became more like best friends instead of like a motherly figure that she was. And actually, I made some notes so that I don't forget some of the stuff I was going to say. That's really sad. Hold on, let me check here. Oh yeah, so she was always good for a snack, a chat, or to just watch the latest episode of The Young and Restless, which my younger sister did quite frequently on her lunch breaks. The older I became, like I said, the closer we got. She helped me plan my wedding. She actually did a beautiful reading at my wedding. And she helped me get ready for my wedding. And her daughter Sandy was even in my wedding. Sue was not just there for me, but for my entire family. The year after I got married, we lost my father and my sister in an accident, and my mother moved into an apartment near theirs, and she opened her house to my mother and my brother and my sister, which the kindness that they showed them, the amount of meals that they shared together was awesome. And she was always there for my mom when she needed advice or just to vent. And as I got older from there, I ended up having children. And Sue was so awesome. She actually babysat all three of my children for me. My daughter first, every day of the week, and it was close to where I worked, so that I could come and nurse at lunchtime. So like we spent a lot of time together. My second child, my son Will, has a lot of special needs. And Sue and Keith were the only people that I could really depend on to babysit, because everybody else was afraid of Will and intimidated by his needs, and they never were. And so they've always been here for my family. I admired her in so many ways. I would like to say that Sue cleaned her house immaculately. She was like a Donna Reed, and I always admired that. She liked to parent somewhat like Claire Huxtable, but maybe a little Roseanne. And then she could cook like Martha Stewart. And by Martha Stewart, I mean Mama Ruth. Because they both were excellent cooks. And as many of you know, Sue's father is Maltese. And when Sue's mom was getting married, his mother taught her a lot of the dishes that Joe liked to eat. And actually one of those dishes is macaroni, which I loved coming over for. And it's a pasta dish with very simple ingredients, with tomato paste and ricotta cheese. And we actually made it for today in honor of Sue. And my daughter, who's Sue babysat, actually made her favorite pastizzi, which she always raved about. And so she looked up a recipe for that. But she was pretty amazing. In fact, my sister also made potato soup in honor of her too, because that was one of the other foods that she made. And it was the very first time in my life I've ever had potato soup with sauerkraut, and I actually enjoyed it. And if you haven't had it, don't judge it, because it's pretty good. Trying to make sure that I say everything I wanted to. She bought my children their first moose. And if you know Sue and moose, that was her favorite. And so when I had my baby shower, she's like, I got you a stuffed moose because I wanted to be the person that bought your daughter her first moose. And it was so wonderful. She was always so kind like that. Let's see. You know, honestly, I'm trying to think of what else I want to say. I honestly didn't think that Sue would go so quickly. I wasn't ready, and to me, it's not really real yet, but she was an amazing person. And I was just very lucky to have her in my life and be so blessed by their whole family. And I just want you to know, if you guys ever need anything, you know you can always call. So, but thank you guys.
Thanks, sir.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you don't know me. I am their next door neighbor, and we kind of moved in right around the same time, and so we've been next door neighbors for almost 18 years now. And so I watched you guys grow up, but they are truly the best neighbors I've ever had in my entire life, and I've lived in lots of different apartments. And we've just, with Sue and the whole family, has been so supportive of me, and I've been supportive of them. It's just been the best relationship, and I'm going to miss her, and I know everyone here is going to miss her. A couple little stories, she had to write some notes. She was so generous. She listened to me when I was having difficulties, even though she was having difficulties as well. And got two little stories, moose and food. My comment in here. When I would go on vacation, Keith would always get my mail for me, and so I would bring back a little moose of some kind when I came back. And I like to cook, and I live alone, so when I do dishes, I love, have extra, and I would take it over. She fell in love with my mac and cheese, and it was just the cutest thing because she was not shy about asking, will you make me more mac and cheese? Oh, it's my birthday. Can I have mac and cheese? Absolutely.
Anybody else? Okay. Sorry, for those of you who don't know, I'm blind now from the Now.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mary, Sue's sister, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. I know a lot of us flew here or drove here to be here, and I appreciate that because I know what a hassle it is having a midnight layover in Chicago to get here. But I just want to echo, everything that everyone said so far. When I was a little girl, it was Sue and I a lot because my parents were traveling or out of town. And we were just like 2 peas in a pod, going to Pam's house, shopping at TJ Maxx so we get matching purses. Something that Sammy and I still do as we are wearing the same shoes. And I just think all of those memories have been really nice to look over. Because, you get busy with life and you don't think about things, especially I live far away now, I live in Arizona. So just to take the time to be here. And, I just want to say to Keith, you love my sister all these years. And I don't think I could have asked for anyone better.
I agree.
To be there for her. And you were always there for her.
Yeah.
You never missed a moment. Yeah. And I never worried about her. Because you were there with her. And when I met my wife, it was a similar quality of her. She's always been there for me. And just seeing the two two of you, and how long you've been, all these years. I hope that your heart heals in time, and you know she loves you no matter where she is. And you know, when I was little, the most exciting thing that ever happened to me was having these 3 kids born. Alex first, and Sammy, and Sammy took over my whole life. But I want all of you to know Drew too. If you ever knew Mom, I'm here for you. I'm not your mom, but I love you just like it. So, with that, she taught us all how to be moms, and I'll never be able to thank her for it. So, thanks for being here.
I think that's probably about everybody. And so, lastly, we have Sam's going to play another song. This song was Dad's choice.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Was grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing
with friends and family. So that's what I'd like y'all to stick around and do now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, girls.